During Hollywood's golden age, roughly the 1910s to the early 1960s, public figures were often expected to conform to religious norms. However, a few celebrities were known, or later revealed, to be atheists or agnostic despite the era's more conservative attitudes. Here's a list of notable Golden Age stars who were atheists or skeptics. Katherine Hepburn, one of Hollywood's most iconic actresses from the Golden Age, was openly atheist, a rare stance in an era when religious conformity was expected. Known for her fierce independence and strong will, Hepburn was never afraid to challenge social norms, both on-screen and off. She once stated plainly, "I'm an atheist, and that's it. I believe there's nothing we can know except that we should be kind to each other and do what we can for people." This quote reflects her humanistic worldview, emphasizing compassion over religious doctrine. Hepburn's atheism aligned with her broader rejection of traditional expectations, including marriage and femininity as prescribed by 20th-century society. She focused instead on personal authenticity and moral integrity. Unlike many contemporaries who kept their personal beliefs private to protect their careers, Hepburn's candidness about her atheism further cemented her reputation as a nonconformist. Her stance on religion did not diminish her public appeal but rather added to her image as a strong, independent thinker in Hollywood's golden era. Would you like similar summaries for other Golden Age figures? Spencer Tracy, one of the most respected actors of Hollywood's Golden Age, was raised in a strict Roman Catholic household. Early in life, he considered entering the priesthood, but over time his views shifted dramatically. Although he never publicly declared himself an atheist, those close to him, including biographers and longtime partner Katherine Hepburn, suggested that he lost his faith, particularly due to personal hardships. One major influence was the lifelong struggle of his son, John, who was born deaf. Tracy reportedly wrestled with the idea of a just and loving God in the face of such adversity. His private remarks and behavior later in life reflected deep skepticism toward religion. He stopped attending church and, according to Hepburn, expressed doubts about an afterlife or divine intervention. While he maintained a respectful silence on religious matters in public, likely to avoid controversy, his personal life told a different story. Tracy's quiet withdrawal from faith illustrates how even the most traditional upbringings can evolve when confronted with life's deepest challenges. Would you like a similar summary for another Golden Age celebrity? Greta Garbo, the enigmatic star of Hollywood's Golden Age, was known as much for her intense privacy as for her captivating on-screen presence. Though she rarely spoke about personal matters, biographers and those close to her have noted that Garbo showed little interest in religion throughout her life. Raised in a Lutheran household in Sweden, she gradually distanced herself from organized faith, especially after moving to America and achieving stardom. Her writings and personal letters suggest a deeply introspective woman who leaned toward agnosticism or atheism. She often expressed a sense of existential solitude, once remarking, "Life would be so wonderful if we only knew what to do with it." This quiet spiritual skepticism matched her famously reclusive lifestyle, as she chose to retreat from Hollywood at the height of her fame. Garbo's detachment from both fame and faith contributed to the enduring mystery surrounding her. While she never made public declarations about belief, her lack of religious affiliation and her philosophical, inward-focused worldview paint the picture of a woman unconvinced by traditional doctrines. Would you like one next on Charlie Chaplin? Charlie Chaplin, one of the most influential figures of early cinema, held complex views on religion. Though he was raised in a poor, religious household in London, his later writings and actions revealed deep skepticism toward organized religion. While Chaplin never publicly declared himself an atheist, he often expressed agnostic or secular humanist beliefs. His films, such as The Great Dictator and Modern Times, focused on social justice, human dignity, and the absurdity of power structures, often with little reference to divine authority. Chaplin believed that humanity should be guided by compassion and reason rather than religious dogma. In his autobiography, he criticized religious institutions for hypocrisy and exploitation. Though he acknowledged the emotional comfort faith could offer some people, Chaplin's personal philosophy aligned more with humanism, placing faith in people rather than in the supernatural. Due to the political climate of the time, especially during the Red Scare, he avoided religious labels publicly, but his private views made it clear he was not religious. His secular ideals remain evident in both his life and his work. Would you like one on W.C. Fields next? W.C. Fields, the legendary comedian of Hollywood's golden age, was widely known for his sharp wit, biting sarcasm, and open skepticism toward religion. Although he never publicly declared himself an atheist, his jokes and personal habits made his irreverent attitude clear. Fields famously kept a Bible by his bedside, not out of faith, but, as he quipped, in case of emergencies. This dry humor reflected his broader cynicism about religion and human nature. He frequently poked fun at religious hypocrisy in his routines and films, portraying clergymen and moralists as foolish or self-serving. Those close to him described him as a man who distrusted institutions, including the church, and who found comfort more in drink and laughter than in prayer. Despite living in a time when such views were often hidden to avoid scandal, Fields made little effort to hide his disdain for religious pretense. While he may not have been a militant atheist, his skepticism was central to both his comedy and his personal philosophy. His legacy remains one of irreverence, independence, and unflinching honesty. Would you like one next on Errol Flynn? Errol Flynn, the swashbuckling star of Hollywood's golden age, was as famous for his off-screen adventures as he was for his on-screen charisma. Known for his rebellious nature, Flynn openly rejected traditional norms, including religion. In his 1959 autobiography My Wicked, Wicked Ways, he described himself as an atheist, expressing clear disdain for organized faith. He viewed religion as a tool for control rather than a source of truth or moral guidance. Flynn's atheism was consistent with his larger-than-life persona. He was defiant, curious, and unapologetically individualistic. His skepticism may have stemmed from both intellectual inquiry and a life filled with personal extremes, including war reporting, legal troubles, and a hedonistic lifestyle. Unlike many of his contemporaries who avoided speaking publicly about religious doubt, Flynn was candid and even provocative about his beliefs. His outspoken nature, however, often led to controversy and criticism during a time when atheism was considered taboo in Hollywood. Despite this, Flynn remained steadfast in his views, making him one of the few Golden Age stars to publicly identify as an atheist. Would you like a summary for James Whale next? James Whale, the acclaimed director behind Frankenstein, 1931, and The Bride of Frankenstein, 1935, was a rare figure in Hollywood's golden age, openly gay, unapologetically artistic, and openly irreligious. Born in England and raised in a working-class family, Whale served in World War I, an experience that shaped much of his worldview. He later described religion as irrelevant and incompatible with reason, openly identifying as an atheist. In an era when both atheism and homosexuality were taboo, Whale made little effort to hide either aspect of his identity. His films often reflected his outsider perspective, imbued with sympathy for misunderstood or persecuted characters, and filled with subtle critiques of conformity and authority. Whale's rejection of religion was both personal and philosophical. He found meaning through art, relationships, and individual freedom rather than spiritual belief. After stepping away from Hollywood in the 1940s, he lived a largely private life until his death in 1957. James Whale's legacy endures not only in his iconic horror films but also in his quiet defiance of the societal norms of his time. Would you like a 180-word summary for another Golden Age figure? Bruce Lee, though primarily remembered as a martial arts legend and cultural icon, also held firm philosophical and spiritual beliefs that set him apart. Unlike many of his contemporaries, Lee openly identified as an atheist. In a 1972 interview, when asked about his religious beliefs, he plainly responded, "None whatsoever," later adding, "To be perfectly frank, I really do not believe in God." Raised in a Buddhist household, Lee moved beyond traditional religious doctrine, preferring a rational, self-directed path based on philosophy and personal discipline. He drew heavily from Taoism, Buddhism, and Western thought, but interpreted these ideas in practical, secular ways. His emphasis was always on self-actualization. inner strength, and direct experience rather than faith in divine authority. While not a Hollywood studio actor in the conventional sense, Bruce Lee's global stardom and cultural influence peaked during the late 1960s and early 1970s, overlapping with the tail end of the Golden Age. His open atheism, rare among stars of his time, reflected his commitment to intellectual honesty, personal freedom, and a life grounded in reason and self-awareness. Would you like a 180-word summary for Bert Lancaster next? Bert Lancaster, an Oscar-winning actor, was known for his versatility and strong moral convictions, which extended to his beliefs about religion. Openly atheist, Lancaster was unafraid to express his skepticism toward organized religion, even at the height of his career. He famously declined a role in the epic religious film Ben-Hur, 1959, stating that his atheism made him uncomfortable with the film's portrayal of faith. However, Lancaster later starred in Elmer Gantry, 1960, a film that satirizes religious hypocrisy, portraying a manipulative preacher. His role in Elmer Gantry earned him critical acclaim and an Academy Award, highlighting his ability to challenge conventional religious views while still achieving success in Hollywood. Lancaster's decision to take on such a role further reflected his belief in the importance of questioning authority and societal norms. His career choices and public statements made it clear that he was more interested in portraying complex, often controversial characters than conforming to traditional expectations of religious or moral alignment. Would you like to learn more about his views or other Golden Age stars? Frances Farmer, a talented actress in Hollywood's Golden Age, is remembered not only for her on-screen performances but also for her tumultuous personal life. Known for defying societal norms, Farmer was openly atheist, a stance that made her an outlier in an era when religious conformity was the expectation. Raised in a religious family, Farmer later distanced herself from faith, particularly as she struggled with mental health issues and institutionalization. Her outspoken beliefs, combined with her rebellious nature, led to her being labeled as difficult by Hollywood's conservative power structures. These factors contributed to her career's decline, as she was placed in a psychiatric institution in the late 1940s, where she spent several years. Despite her personal hardships, Farmer's atheism was a cornerstone of her defiance against authority, both in the entertainment industry and in society at large. Her legacy is marked by a combination of brilliance, tragedy, and an unwavering commitment to her individual beliefs, even when they conflicted with the expectations of her time. Would you like a deeper dive into her career or personal life? Orson Wells, the visionary director and actor, was known not only for his groundbreaking work in film but also for his agnostic and atheistic views. Wells often expressed deep skepticism about religion, particularly criticizing organized religious institutions. This alignment with his broader iconoclastic approach to art and society helped him become a figure of immense influence, both in Hollywood and beyond. Despite his early involvement in theater and radio, Wells was most famous for his directorial debut, Citizen Kane, 1941, which challenged traditional storytelling conventions and took aim at societal norms. His skepticism toward religion was consistent with his broader rejection of authority and established structures. Wells frequently questioned the role of religion in human affairs, preferring to explore existential themes through his art. Though he avoided directly declaring himself an atheist, his remarks and his works reveal a man more focused on reason and humanism than on spiritual belief. Wells's iconoclastic nature extended beyond the film industry, as he continually pushed boundaries in both his work and personal philosophy. Would you like more information on Wells's films or beliefs? Charles Laughton, the distinguished English-American actor known for his powerful performances in The Hunchback of Notre Dame, 1939, and Witness for the Prosecution, 1957, was also known privately for his atheistic beliefs. Though he did not discuss religion publicly, likely due to the conservative climate of Hollywood during the Golden Age, his wife, actress Elsa Lanchester, confirmed in her autobiography that Laughton was an atheist. Raised in a strict Catholic environment in England, Laughton gradually rejected religious teachings, finding them incompatible with his intellectual and artistic sensibilities. His decision to keep his atheism private in public circles reflected the risk associated with openly rejecting faith in a deeply religious era. Nevertheless, Laughton's work often reflected his humanist values, focusing on themes of justice, compassion, and moral complexity. His powerful portrayals of conflicted, deeply human characters revealed a philosophical depth that extended beyond religious dogma. Laughton's quiet but firm atheism, shared through those closest to him, underscores the quiet dissent of many thoughtful artists working within a system that demanded conformity. Would you like a summary on Billy Naylor next? Billy Naylor, a child actor best known for his appearances in the Our Gang comedy shorts of the 1920s and early 1930s, lived a life marked by early fame and later outspoken advocacy for secularism. While his acting career ended at a young age, Naylor's legacy extended into his adult life through his passionate support for atheism and free thought. He identified as a devout atheist and was deeply involved in the secular movement. Notably, he supported the Free Thought Hall Fund, an initiative aimed at promoting secular values and providing a space for non-believers. Naylor also made history as the youngest member to join the Screen Actors Guild at just 18 years old, showing his commitment to labor rights and ethical principles. Unlike many of his contemporaries in the entertainment industry who kept their religious views private, Naylor was open about his lack of belief and saw it as a core part of his identity. Though not a household name in later years, his dedication to rationalism and free thought makes him a noteworthy figure among early Hollywood atheists. Would you like summaries on any additional Golden Age celebrities? Richard Burton, the legendary Welsh actor known for his commanding voice and Shakespearean talent, was also candid about his atheism. Throughout his life, Burton expressed a deep skepticism toward religion, often criticizing its influence both in society and in cinema. He notably disliked religious epics such as The Robe, 1953, calling them hollow and unconvincing. Raised in a working-class Welsh family with strong Protestant influences, Burton gradually rejected organized religion, finding more truth in literature and human experience than in scripture. His personal writings and interviews reflect a man who valued reason, introspection, and emotional honesty over doctrine or faith. Despite achieving global fame and acclaim, Burton remained intellectually restless and skeptical of grand narratives, religious or otherwise. His atheism was not loud or confrontational, but thoughtful and rooted in personal experience and observation. This philosophical approach is evident in his nuanced performances, where he often portrayed morally conflicted or questioning characters. Burton's rejection of religion aligned with his broader resistance to conformity, making him a rare voice of secularism among the stars of Hollywood's golden age. Would you like a summary for Marina Dietrich next? Marina Dietrich, the iconic German-American actress and singer, was celebrated not only for her glamorous screen presence but also for her fiercely independent spirit and progressive beliefs. Among these was her open atheism, an uncommon stance in Hollywood's conservative golden age. Dietrich was raised in a religious household in Germany but rejected organized religion early in life, favoring rationalism, personal freedom, and moral autonomy over dogma. She believed that religion was often used as a tool for control and oppression, particularly against women and minorities. Her disdain for religious institutions was evident in both her personal correspondence and public comments. Despite the risks of alienating audiences or studio heads, Dietrich remained unapologetic about her secular worldview. She channeled her beliefs into action as well, working with the U.S. military during World War II and strongly opposing fascism and intolerance in all forms. Her atheism was not merely a lack of belief, but a reflection of her larger philosophy, to think critically, live authentically, and stand firmly against injustice. Dietrich remains a symbol of courage, individuality, and secular strength in Hollywood history. Would you like one next on Stanley Kubrick? Stanley Kubrick, one of cinema's most visionary directors, was deeply skeptical of religion, though he never explicitly labeled himself an atheist. Raised in a secular Jewish family, Kubrick distanced himself from religious belief early in life, leaning instead toward rationalism and existential thought. His films often reflect this worldview, questioning humanity's place in the universe and the role of belief systems in shaping behavior. 2001, A Space Odyssey, 1968, explores human evolution and cosmic mystery without invoking a traditional god, while A Clockwork Orange, 1971, critiques moral conditioning and religious hypocrisy. Kubrick's storytelling frequently delves into the darker, more ambiguous aspects of human nature, favoring philosophical inquiry over spiritual certainty. In interviews, he acknowledged the emotional comfort religion could provide but remained unconvinced by supernatural claims. His wife, Christiane Kubrick, once confirmed that he did not believe in an afterlife, describing his outlook as scientific and humanistic. Kubrick's lifelong exploration of truth through logic, art, and introspection places him firmly among Hollywood figures who question faith, preferring the pursuit of meaning through observation rather than dogma. Would you like a 180-word piece on George C. Scott next? George C. Scott, best known for his Oscar-winning portrayal of General George S. Patton in Patton, 1970, was a fiercely independent figure in Hollywood, both on and off the screen. Known for his powerful performances and intense presence, Scott also held strong personal convictions, one of which was his open skepticism toward religion. He identified as an atheist and was unafraid to share his views publicly, a bold stance during a time when such beliefs could harm a public figure's reputation. Scott frequently criticized religious institutions and questioned the role of faith in society, believing that organized religion often led to division and hypocrisy. His views were part of a broader anti-establishment outlook. He rejected the pomp of awards shows, famously refusing his Academy Award. Scott's atheism aligned with his broader philosophy of intellectual honesty and personal integrity. Rather than conform to societal expectations, he chose to live by his principles, both as an artist and a private individual. His legacy remains that of a passionate, uncompromising actor who challenged not only the film industry but also the societal norms of his time. Would you like summaries for more Golden Age figures?